Today I'm putting together the frame, the pulley, and the top plate of the garage storage system. Let's go. So I've got 16 rollers here. There's nothing special about them. These are just typical garage door pulley rollers. They've got some really solid bearings in them, really decent bearings. So these things are gonna work great with my 3/16 wire. And I've got my size as diagram for the frame. This is what's gonna get lifted up into the air with the wire rope and the pulleys. All of the cross members are gonna be 16 inches on center. Total dimensions, 42, 132, 8 rollers in the piece that's gonna be raised up to the roof. And then there's gonna be another 4 rollers in the ceiling that will hold up the entire assembly. Now I know that might not make sense right now, having 8 pulleys on the raised storage section of the shelf and only having 4 pulleys on the roof part of it. But trust me on this one, it will all make sense once it gets put together. When you're doing a build like this, always start with a fresh blade. Whoop. Now it's time to tack it in. Fuck out of here.
Be careful when using nail guns. Always use eye protection. Never shoot friends or grandma.
Okay, the rough frame is done. I put 2 3-inch brad nails in each end. They're pretty solid. But I'm thinking because this thing is going to be hanging over my head, I want this to be extra safe. So I'm going to put an extra 3.5-inch spiral screw into each side. One here, just to make sure that this thing doesn't fall apart. I'm actually pretty confident these brad nails will hold, but this is just an extra layer of security so that everything stays put. Riley also helped me fix this Hurley shirt a little bit. Just a little touch up. I like it. So I need to put some cross members in here, and then on the other side to support the pulleys. And then I need to do some measuring to make sure that the pulleys are in the right location, because the 2 in the middle need to be offset to allow for the wire rope to connect to the top and not get bound up. In a future episode, I'll show you what that looks like. But for today, I'm finishing the frame, the top portion of it, getting the pulleys installed, and that'll be done. So now that all the cross members are in place, I need to find where I'm going to put the pulleys. Corners are easy. The location of the corners is pretty straightforward. I'm going to put one pretty much right in the corner here and then just butt this up against it. So we'll get this roughly like this. Now this needs to be pretty tight because I don't want these wobbling around. And I got a 3/8-inch bolt that's going to go right into here and go right through here and here. What that'll do is secure this thing really tight right into the corner. There's no way that's going to move. And then this whole corner is going to be secured. Same with each of these corners. Once these pulleys are in here, into the bottom, the pulley from the ceiling, these 2 points are going to be fixed. And then the wire rope is going to come down, hit this pulley, go underneath these, this, and then hit this pulley, and then go back up to the ceiling and then hit the winch on the opposite side. So stay with me. I know that sounds a little bit weird. I'll explain everything. The design will work, so that's how that works. And then the opposite is true for this side as well. So I've got 2 pulleys here, 2 fixed points on the ceiling, wires coming down, hitting these 2 pulleys, wires run underneath here, hit this pulley here, goes back up, and it hits the pulley in the ceiling and goes to the winch. Now, that will all work fine. The only problem I'm gonna have is I need to notch out the underside of these so that the wire rope won't hit this piece. So it will go underneath here and it will have clearance to go the whole way. But for now, I'm gonna mount these pulleys and keep moving. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and marked center on the entire thing. The back portion, I've gone 6 inches from center one way, 6 the other way, so I got a foot of clearance there. And then I've gone 9 inches from center from here to here, and 9 inches from here to here. These lines here are where the center of the pulley bolt will go, the 3/8 bolt. And I clamped it down, and I'm gonna drill through the top here to make sure that this hole is 100% flush. And then when I put the bolt through and put the pulley right in the middle here after I move this out, it's gonna be 100% perfectly lined up. Okay, so I went ahead and I finished all of the pulley pieces. Each corner has a pulley. Each center section has a pulley. Now what I ended up doing was I got a 5/8 inch bolt, 5 inch long, going right through 2 pieces of the wood here. And you can see the pulley sandwiched between it. The nice thing about these garage door pulleys is the bearings jut out from each side. You can see that they jut out probably 3/8 of an inch. Put the bolt on the inside, tighten that down. These are 5 inch lag bolts. That is super tight. These spin freely. Now what I need to do is cut some plywood to fit on top of this. And I need to mark the holes where the wire rope is gonna come through on the plywood. I've got 3/8 inch plywood that I'm gonna put on top of here. So I'm gonna run that through the table saw and put that on top. Using a table saw ripping 4x8 gets a little sketchy near the end there because I don't have any blocks to put on it. But you make do, and if it works, it works. Remember, always unplug your tools when you're adjusting blade depth. That's not working. Okay, you can see that the plywood's all cut. Looking sweet. So these bolts are where the center of the pulley is. Now the wire going to the ceiling is gonna come through here just beside it because that's the edge of the pulley there. 1.5 inches from the center of the bolt. And then there's gonna be another hole that I need to drill about 1.25 inches just to the left of this. So because this is only a light sheet of plywood, I said 3/8 before, it's actually 1/4 inch. I'm just gonna tack the top of it on with a brad trim nailer. But otherwise, I don't need to use heavy fasteners for this plywood. It's gonna stay in place with a couple of small nails, and that'll keep the weight down as well, because that's one of my main concerns with this build, is to try to keep everything as light as possible so that we can stack this up with whatever we want to store on it and not have to worry about weight issues. So I was gonna use this Ryobi 1 Airstrike hammer. I find the top of it is pretty janky. If you find that these things jam up, if you have one of these, I do recommend it. It's not that heavy, it's a decent tool. But it will jam up. It wasn't working just now. Get some hydraulic oil, dab it all around here. The thing will shoot like a champ for a little while, and then it'll jam up again because, I don't know, it's cheap. So I'm gonna use one that hasn't failed me. This guy. So instead of cheap Chinese garbage, I think this is made in China too. I have no idea. This thing's never failed me. Boss Stitch makes good stuff. So I'm just gonna use this. Okay, so I went ahead and drilled all the holes. There were 8 in total on each corner and 4 in the middle. You can see that the ones in the middle are slightly offset. It's a little bit hard to tell because of how far away the view is. There's 2 right there. They're offset by 3 inches on each side, so when the wires go up from the front, they won't interfere with the ones from the back. Hey, so that's the end of part 1 of the winch operated. Daddy. Yeah? Hi. You're going to your friends? Okay. It's bigger, a bit heavier than I thought, but this thing's still gonna work fine. So there's not gonna be any problem there. If you're enjoying this kind of stuff and you wanna see part 2, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell as well, because the next episode is gonna be up in a couple of days, and then you'll get to see how I attach it to the ceiling. I've gotta get some angle brackets and get that all mounted up. Attach the pulley to the ceiling and get this thing done. So until then, thanks for watching.